Have you ever felt like everything you do is somehow wrong? Whether it's something new or something that you've been doing for a while, there's this inescapable feeling that everything you do somehow turns out to be incorrect. There's a word for that. It's called paro. Coined by John Koenig, paro is the feeling that no matter what you do, it is always somehow wrong. Hey, I'm Keith. So I came across this thread on Twitter that talks about emotions that people feel but can't explain. And I read the definition of paro and I thought, yeah, I've definitely felt that before. I'm not sure if you have too. I think in a world that is always telling you how to improve, it can be easy to think that you need to catch up, like you're somehow behind, and everyone around you has what you're trying to do, or even life itself figured out. Being conditioned this way can make us feel like we failed before we even started. It can make us afraid to try new things, to invest in ourselves and our hobbies, or to put ourselves forward for new opportunities, like starting a new gym or applying for that job that caught your eye. It can also feed heavily into something called the Imposter Syndrome. I'll explain this thoroughly in a future video, but essentially Imposter Syndrome is when you doubt your skills, talents, or accomplishments and have a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. An example of that I'm sure many of us can relate to is starting a new job. I recently started a new job and everyone there is super great and is super helpful. But as I started to get settled into the new role and started to do more things, this feeling of me being unqualified started to creep in, and it felt like it was only a matter of time before everybody figured out that I was unqualified or I was going to mess something up, even though I'm super qualified for the role. So now that we have a good understanding of this word, what does this mean for you and me, and how can we apply it to our lives? Well, the first way would be to ask for help. And I know that sounds super obvious, but this feeling of I need to figure this out on my own actually contributes to the feeling like we're doing something wrong, because we didn't have the answer to begin with in the first place. So whether it's you searching on YouTube for the answer or reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn or Instagram, you being receptive to help at every stage of your life allows you to look at things with fresh eyes. And yes, there is a time to do things on your own, but there's also a time to ask for help. When dealing with a problem, it moves from how do I do this to who do I know that can help me to do this. For example, at work, I've been putting in calls outside of my training calls and induction calls with people around the business to understand what they do and just to explain anything I actually don't understand yet. Another way I think we can combat this feeling is just to take time to reflect on and celebrate how far you've actually come. I think we can get so caught up in the negative and think about where we need to be or how come we're not doing this particular thing, and we completely forget that we've come a long way on this journey. So take time to reflect on all of your achievements, and hopefully that will help you to combat this feeling. And the last thing is to remember that you're probably not the only one feeling this way, meaning that other people are just worried about themselves, which sounds a bit harsh and selfish because they're not necessarily thinking about you or just only you. But what that does is actually it frees you up to work on the things that you want to work on, or the areas that you've pinpointed as progress areas. So take that time to work on yourself and don't feel like everybody is watching you, which can also add to the feeling like you're doing everything wrong. I actually did a video about this that you can watch here. Let me know your thoughts about paro, and if anything in this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.